the beans like we used to do. Pass the beans. Pass the beans like we used to do. Pass the beans.
Pass the beans.
Pass the beans.
Pass the beans.
Pass the beans. The Beans Talk. Hey, Bean fam. It is the Beans Talk podcast coming back at you with another episode.
What it do, baby?
We are four educators of color, bringing you raw, authentic conversation about society views and community engagement. Everybody, I am Fabs.
I'm Steph. What's up, guys?
Hey, fam, it's Ro.
Good morning. This is TJ.
Good morning.
Good morning.
They could listen to it at any time of the day.
Well, we're taping in the morning.
You're right. That's very
It's only
early in the morning.
appropriate, so.
Factual.
Silly.
So right now we're going to be jumping into the do now, and y'all already know what that is.
That's me.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Yeah, for this do now, I was thinking about a question that would really be deep. And
I'm nervous.
My question is, okay, would you rather...
All right, I can already tell this ain't about to be deep.
No, it is deep. Would you rather be infamous in history books or die forgotten?
Wait. Okay.
Infamous means, for those of you who don't know, Ro.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
Always coming famous.
Infamous.
All right.
It means that you're famous for something bad. Like you're famous for like a Hitler, or like, it doesn't even have to be that extreme, but you're famous for something that's not good. So would you rather be infamous in history books after you die or die forgotten?
Oh, okay.
That's a good question.
That is.
Because
Told you.
I would, I don't want to be forgotten.
Being forgotten
But I
is
also
deep.
don't want to be remembered for doing something terrible. I want to leave a legacy behind, but I want it to be of good. So I guess for me, I'd rather be forgotten by the masses and remembered by
there's
those
no
that
There's no.
There's no remembered by...
Babs tried to.
and then remembered by
Finesse.
people I love. Why
Yes.
is your face like
Answer.
that?
There's no remembered by family
love
and friends.
that.
You're forgotten completely by your family,
Wiped
by
off
your
the face
kids.
of the earth?
Yes, you're forgotten.
I'd rather that because I'm not. I'd rather not leave something terrible behind.
I'd rather be infamous.
I
We know you would.
I would. I mean, yeah, it's not you're known for something bad, but hey, your name will not be forgotten. I'm sure, and to some extent, Hitler is like he's in hell, probably glad that he did what he did because his name is still talked about today.
Valid.
That's also
valid.
true.
Valid.
There are a lot of serial killers as well
That
being
we still
talked
talking about.
today. That's a weird thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I definitely would rather be forgotten. So you would rather be remembered for doing something infamous. Cool.
How about you, Steph, babe?
So first off, guys, I just want to preface that my hair is inside of rollers right now. So if you're looking at this video and you're like, what is Steph doing?
Looking good.
I am protecting the do. And I think all my ladies can attest to that. I'm definitely going to die forgotten. I think I take Fab's stance on this. I do not want to be remembered for putting out any negative energy or doing something harmful to other people. That's just not how I move.
I mean, Monica Lewinsky is infamous. She didn't do anything terrible. It's like
I don't want to be.
I don't wanna be
that
Monica.
somebody.
No.
like-
I just use Hitler. I'm just saying that it doesn't have to be as extreme as Hitler. Like that was my example, but you don't have to perform genocide. It could be like something like maybe you gave someone.
Okay.
You did a sex act or something.
Okay. And be remembered forever for that?
a sex
I'm
tape?
good. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
good. Like, what's great about that?
Being
There's nothing
forgotten
great.
is the epitome of being, but that's just me. I roll.
But your impact could also like still be on Earth, even though people won't necessarily tie it to you. You could have
Someone
actually.
could take credit for your
Nobody's taking credit. You just could have left the world better than it was, and then to you and with yourself, that's enough. Like,
How could you? If you're not remembered, how could you leave a positive impact? I guess you could, like, in your lifetime feed homeless people, but when you die, no one's gonna remember you did it.
It doesn't
No one's
matter.
gonna-
But in that moment, while you were alive, you created a lot of positive moments and memories for other people. So if you think about it, you've left a positive impact, whether somebody's giving you all these accolades or not. You have had several moments within your life where you've put out positive energy and you've changed someone's life for the better, whether they remember it or not. It was there. It happened. That's the way I see it.
I mean,
If you do that again, like that, it's gonna be an issue.
just saying.
I can't.
TJ, baby, I want to like side with you and say that I'd rather be remembered for doing something infamous, but like, no, I'd rather die forgotten. I think both Fab and Steph mentioned it, but like, yo, just like my impact, even if you don't remember it, at least I know that I did something in your life, period. I can care less if you remember me for it, but I know you'll be able to say like, oh yeah, Roanne did this.
No, because they don't remember.
Okay, Roanne did this, but she's dead. I don't give a shit about her being dead. But I just feel like I would rather die forgotten knowing that I left an impact, even if they don't remember it. But while I was alive, I did good. That's just me.
Because I mean, ultimately, there's like a ripple effect. Even if nobody's gonna remember that stone that fell into the lake, but it ripples, and other people's lives are impacted at the end of the day. And that's, for me personally, that's more important than doing something that would negatively impact the world.
Or to have history books remember me.
yeah.
It's all right. It is all right.
Yeah.
Different perspectives, I
Yes.
guess.
Yeah.
Because I definitely disagree. I don't want to. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Being forgotten by your children, being forgotten by everyone is like you didn't exist. And
I hear you.
also ties that in with the impact too, because if you're forgotten, I guess you could forget the person, but remember the impact they had. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I don't know if
planting a
that's possible,
seed.
but
It is.
It is possible.
The
You don't
action
have
isn't
to-
forgotten. It's just
Yeah.
the person that's forgotten.
Like, I'm thinking of an example of where I feel like they made a commercial out of this or something, but there was one person who had like opened a door for somebody else, and then that person went and did another compassionate act, and then that person did another compassionate act. So I'm thinking about it like that. Like, you're planting a seed, as like I think Fab said, and it is creating more moments like that, whether people are knowing the source or not. You've just put out a certain type of energy, and it's duplicating itself for good across multiple people. So that means more to me than,
I like that a
Monica
lot.
Lewinsky.
I like that a lot. Like, I feel like it's okay
I'd rather
to
be
plant the seed and not see the flower. Like, it's okay to not see the fruit, but as long as that seed, was planted.
Someone's eating that fruit.
Somebody. And they don't have to remember who planted it. It's somebody.
with the,
Why you making
TJ is
that
like, I
face?
want all the credit.
He does.
I want
That's what it is.
people
And
to
it's
know,
cool, babe.
good
It's
or
cool.
bad.
I just
It's
don't
all
like the
good.
idea of being forgotten. I think
I-
of the movie Troy. Remember the movie Troy where
I have to-
Brad Pitt's character, he was like hell bent on like he wanted his name to echo throughout the ages, and he it was either that or die forgotten, and he like preferred to go out and
Did he do
He was
crazy? I don't remember him
I don't
doing
remember
anything
that.
But
like
then
terrible.
it's like if you are remembered infamously inside of history books, like you also could be a disgrace to your family. Like
that's true.
like they'll be embarrassed or maybe have feelings of angst. You might ruin their lives for being infamous. Like, I don't see Hitler's mom having a good time after he like got away from here. Her life was probably a living hell after that. So it's like, yeah, you're remembered, but what have you done to the people who still like know you and care about you? Like, how have you changed and impacted their life? It just seems like, I don't know, borderline selfish to just say you want to be remembered for the sake of being remembered. Like,
yeah, I guess it is.
So are you reneging on what you said?
No.
Oh, okay.
no,
I'm
he's
sticking to my
still
guns.
sticking to
Still
his
doesn't want to
guns.
be forgotten.
He does not want to be forgotten.
He don't want to
Making
be
sure.
forgotten.
Just making sure.
Yeah, man.
We got to respect it, though.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into our next segment.
Oh, yes.
shoot.
Today is the book club, folks, and I'm so excited. This is our first book club. And what we do on our book club segment is we bring you some type of literary piece. It could be an article, it could be a larger book, it can be a piece of music, any type of text really. And we sort of dive into what that text means to us and generate a larger discussion. So I am so excited that Ro has our first book club.
Yes.
Tell it to
y'all.
us, baby. What you got? What
All
you
right,
got?
I'm here for y'all. Bean fam. So I was recently watching an episode of This Is Us. I'll be honest, I just now joined the bandwagon. I have not been watching that show from its inception. Everybody talks about it. It's actually an incredible show. So let me just break down what I've gotten so far in this most recent season of the show, okay? So Jack and
Wait, is
Rebecca.
this spoiler alert? Because I haven't seen this.
Oh yeah, mad spoiler alert. Kimelim.
Okay.
So Jack and Rebecca, right? They're two white parents. They had triplets. One of their triplets died at birth. Okay, and so they ended up adopting a black boy who was in the hospital, like Memju, the same day that they had their kids. So right now they have 3 children, two white kids and 1 black son. His name is Randall. So I want to fast forward through life. All right, Randall, being a black boy growing up in an all white family, like there's a lot of like, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. And there really is a desire for him to find black role models. And so he finds a mentor at this private school that he's at, Mr. Lawrence, his English teacher, who's a black man. So Randall loves Mr. Lawrence. Like this is like blackness for him, okay? Now Jack, white daddy, is a little bit intimidated because now his black son that he's been raising for so long has another male role model. All right, cool, whatever. So in the previous episode that me and some people were watching, Jack and Randall are on a golf course, and Jack tells Randall, so white dad tells black son that I don't see color, okay? And Randall is like, then you don't see me, Dad. And so, yeah, it really is just such an incredible show. So let's continue to fast forward, y'all. Sorry, I'm jumping around. I'm spoiling mad episodes. Kimelem again. So Jack and Rebecca, they have a dinner and they invite Mr. Lawrence and his wife over for dinner, all right? And the whole episode, you can see how Jack feels some type of way that his black son is
gravitating
towards this black male teacher, man. And so at the end of the episode, when Mr. Lawrence and his wife Trish are leaving, Jack goes outside and has a conversation with Mr. Lawrence, and he says, I can't teach my son how to be black. And Mr. Lawrence is like, chill, you ain't got to do all that. And so Mr. Lawrence had brought this book of black poetry to the dinner that he was going to give to Randall, but he actually ends up giving it to Jack.
The dad.
Yes. He ends up giving it to the dad. And so Jack has this book of black poetry. And so he runs back inside the house and he goes to Randall's room. And Randall is sitting in there doing his homework. And then when Jack is like, yo, I got this poetry book, I want to go through it with you, Randall recites his favorite poem from the book, okay? So this is my first time hearing this Langston Hughes piece, I Too, and I really wanted to bring it to the table, to the Bean fam, because I want to hear where y'all's minds are at when you read it, okay? So let me just pull it up quick, fast, and I'll read it to the squad. All right.
I love Langston Hughes.
This is my first piece, man. I was telling you earlier, baby, that I've never read a Hughes piece at all. I feel kind of ashamed to even say that. All right, here it goes. I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody will dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America.
I like that.
I love that poem every time I hear it.
Could you read it again?
Of course.
Read it again.
I can do it.
Not
I don't
again.
mind.
Yeah, again.
Of course, y'all. Of course. Anything for you, TJ.
Thank you.
I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America. Talk to me. So many things went through my head, but as I read this piece several times and as I heard it on the episode, but I really want to hear from y'all.
I really, really love this poem. I actually, when I was teaching 9th grade English, I had a poetry unit, and I taught this poem alongside Walt Whitman, who is a white poet. I taught it alongside I Hear America Singing. And I really appreciate this poem for a couple of reasons. I think, like, one, it was a really good vessel to begin to highlight Black pride and Black people seeing themselves in a way that's positive and a part and included. And I also thought it was a really good highlight to be able to teach double consciousness and what that means.
Talk to us, Steph.
So for those of you who don't know what double consciousness is, or you've heard it but haven't really been into like the research about it, double consciousness was a theory coined by W.E.B. Du Bois inside of his book, was it The Souls of Black Folks? Or I think so. If I got the title wrong, y'all, don't beat me up. It's been a while since I've read that piece, but pretty much the concept is of double consciousness is that you are in this dichotomy or struggle or tension of, one, seeing yourself a particular way when you look into the mirror, and then also processing the way in which other people see you and experience you. And it changes the way in which you navigate the world. And I think that this poem really began to give a little bit of insight to that. Let me pull it up too. Like, I guess the piece where the voice of this poem says, like, I'm the darker brother they send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. Like, that is the way in which this speaker has identified how the world sees him. But then you get this other piece of how the speaker really sees himself and how much he like loves and values his Blackness. And he says, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. And tomorrow I'll be at the table when company comes. And so there's this tension of like, I know I'm valuable. I know I'm loved. I know that I'm like amazing. And this sense of optimistic tone in that as well. Like, my conditions are going to improve because I know I'm that amazing as well. And like, I don't care what they have to say.
So that piece you brought up, Steph, thank you for all of that. So when the speaker did say, like, it's all right, I'm going to eat well and I'm going to grow strong, when he's talking about being at the table, that kind of sent me for a loop. And here's why I said it sent me for a loop. Here's what it made me think. Although he is being sent in the kitchen, so something that is supposed to hurt him, something that is supposed to keep him diminished, he still is able to find some sort of like growth from that. Like he's optimistic about that. What the hell is in my nail? Ooh, it's time, y'all. But no, he's still he's still able to find some sort of optimism. And I feel like that is something that we, the darker brother, have always been doing, is that shit that's supposed to hurt us, like defeat us, we somehow find a way to find some sort of like positivity out of that, man. And I think that just shows how we, the darker brother, we are so, I don't know if the word is resilient, but there's just something powerful about
resilient is a good word.
It is.
I don't know. It just shows that, like, yo, to be able to turn the negative shit just shows that we are reaching a new height in our journey. So I like that you brought up that piece from the speaker, man.
Yeah, I agree with what both you and Steph said. To me, the two lines that really stand out to me are the first and last line of the poem, where the speaker says, I sing America, and then it ends the poem, I am America. To me, the first line is kind of, you know, when you think of someone singing about something, you think of rejoicing, celebrating something else, or like, you know what I mean? And then by the end, there's this shift of like, I am America, I am the embodiment of America. So he's like almost like taking ownership of his identity. And it's also, there seems to be a shift in like, because he's saying like, oh, tomorrow I will eat at the table. There's this like kind of a past present thing. Like the first half is kind of the past. and the second half of the poem is looking toward his future. And I think that was a very powerful thing to pair the future with him owning his identity and not just singing about America, but saying, I am America. I'm what makes America what it is. So to me, that just drove home the whole point of the poem.
Yeah.
Wow, man. I didn't see that.
TJ, what you just said, it actually connects to one of the points from Walt Whitman's poem, I Hear America Singing. And Walt Whitman's poem, I'm not going to like pull it up and read that. Like, I'm sure we've talked enough about white poets, but pretty much this poem is trying to elevate the working man and show value for those who are doing everyday labor and try to move away from like glorifying like high upper class white elite people. And so the singing was in Walt Whitman's poem was connected to I'm like making a contribution to America with my particular trade or my particular skill. And so what you just said to me, it just reminds us, it brings us this perspective of like the Black person and just thinking about our history and just thinking about the way we were kind of stripped from our homeland and like brought here. And it's like, no, America was built on my back.
Yeah,
like, I'm not making a contribution to America. I
We
built
are
this
America.
shit.
I too am American.
I built this shit. And so I really appreciated your comment there because it just like clicked for me like, dang, yeah, like you compare Walt Whitman's poem and, you know, they're talking about the contributions they're making to America. And then it's like, I'm making contributions to America. Like, hold the hell up. No, I am America. Like, I built this. And so I appreciate that.
For real.
Yeah, it added a new layer for me.
Yeah, and I mean, there is like this sense of inclusivity, trying to make sure that he points out that he is ingrained inside of what America actually is. And so many times people try to redefine what it is to be American. And I guess I want to kind of propose that question to you guys. Like, what do you guys feel it is to be American? Because people came over here seeking, a new and better life encompassed in including like freedom and representation of freedom, like freedom to practice whatever religion you want to practice and be whoever it is that you want to be. But so, I mean, if you think about it, like given the current societal climate, it's like you're not really allowed to be American. So how would you guys define that?
I don't know. I struggle with that because I feel like America was built on so many negative things. On the backs of so many people. And it's just like, what do you define to be American? I would say it's all a diverse people.
I was gonna say diversity too.
Yeah, like
That's the first one that popped in my
a
head.
melting pot. Like, I would give voice to that.
Yeah. Because I was just like thinking that, just the other day, someone had reminded me of like several different situations where people are like, this is America, speak English. And I'm just like, that, I mean, that's like a very universal language, yes, but that's not necessarily like the American language.
Yeah.
America means that there's like it's a melting pot. It's a diverse space, you know what I mean? And so, I don't know, I feel like inside of this poem, it helps like redefine for a lot of people what actually, what it is to be American. It's not just like,
Exclusivity.
it's not just like one specific to one group or one type of group. It is a melting pot. And like you were saying, Steph, it was definitely built on the backs and built by, people of color and Black people and slaves that were forced to come to this space. So I don't know,
I think that's what the poem is trying to get at too. Is like America is not about exclusivity.
Yeah.
Right? Because like in the beginning of the poem, the darker brother is being excluded from the kitchen when company comes. So there's a gathering. He's not allowed to be a part of it. And by the second half of the poem, he's saying, no, I'm going to eat in the kitchen. He's not going to eat in the kitchen when company comes. He's going to join it. Everyone, because he too is America. Like, so yeah, I think what Steph said is true. Like, I think that's what the poem is trying to get at too, is that America is it's about opportunity and diversity as well.
Do you guys think that it touches a little bit on colorism as well? Because when you think about people, back in during this time, when you're forced to go and eat inside of the kitchen, there's the people that are able to be inside of the room to serve. And then there are people that are not allowed to be inside of the room. You have to just be completely hidden and not seen. Do you think that by him pointing out the darker brother, that he's pointing out some level or layer of colorism as well?
Absolutely.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
Man.
absolutely. I definitely think, especially during the time period when this poem was written and the political and social climate, I definitely think that he was touching on colorism. I don't think the word darker was used by accident. I think it was intentionally used. And it's really fascinating that Langston Hughes, as a very light man, very light, took this stance inside his poem as well.
Yeah.
When I read darker, well, I heard it first when Randall said it, but when I read darker, my mind thought darker than the white brother. But I liked that Hughes said brother, because I think although we may look different, meaning you can't be in the kitchen at the table when company is around, but brother still shows a tie, like a family tie, and it still shows relation. And I think what my mind went at was although I'm the darker brother and you're the white brother, we're still related. And that is why I am also just as American as you are, white brother.
Yeah.
Then, that's what I was thinking, but I never thought about the colorism piece.
I love texts like this because you can just get so much out of it. I feel like I've gotten so much out of these 10, 15 minutes we've been talking about it. And I just think it just goes to show just how much this brings me back to this notion of storytelling, whose stories get elevated and which stories get told. And for so long, we've just been elevating and recognizing sort of this white, patriarchal, elite perspective for so long that diversity and other people's stories do get lost inside that narrative. And Ro, when you said at the beginning how this was the first time you ever heard of Langston Hughes's poem, or I don't even know if it was the first time you were hearing of Langston Hughes.
I've heard the name, Steph.
But you had no association.
No, ma'am.
And it's just, I don't know, and I'm not trying to pivot away from dissecting the text, but I really want to know what you guys think about just curriculum and access to a diverse curriculum, because all this time, Ro, you've been in the education system for mad long, and
too long.
You had never heard of this very influential Black poet. And it just makes me think again, which stories are we elevating and which stories are we not?
Steph, I don't even think that goes away from the conversation about I too. I think it completely connects.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because what's interesting, I had a Black female ELA teacher in middle school.
Never had
And because of that, she actually had books and pieces by Black poets and writers and things of that nature, and those were some of the texts that we actually got a chance to touch upon. Same thing, she actually went to my high school as well. She moved into my high school, and we also got a chance to learn more pieces on literature like that. Granted, obviously, we still had to read things like The Giver,
of course,
of Mice and
Yeah,
Men.
the canonical
things like that too. But she also gave us opportunities to start to learn more about our own culture, and I didn't really appreciate it as much as I probably should, because other people don't get that chance. And when I was in high school, she didn't come till my second year of high school. When I was in high school, we were learning about American history, and you just realize how excluded people of color, even Black people, were just, it was like a snippet in time, as if we never had any impact on the development of America. You know what I mean? It's just that's where our history began. That was it's really tough to grasp something like that, where it's our history begins with slavery, and there's just so much more royalty, prior, so much more juice and color prior to that that time that we hit America or that we were forced to come here.
I was seeing this.
Yeah.
I saw this meme on Instagram or Facebook. It was saying that like the person was saying how tired they are of seeing films that only like highlight the Black narrative of like slavery, and that there's so many other things that can be created and put out there for the public to see.
Yeah, to
And
celebrate.
to celebrate, and that it's just like, but that's like kind of the narrative that's constantly pushed. It's like, oh, the poor Black man, oh, he
Or
came
the
from
Black struggle.
slavery,
That's all we hear about.
the slavery, or and not to say that those aren't valid. That's not a valid part of history that should be, presented as art or presented in film and story, but making sure that there's that's not the only thing that Black history encompasses.
Yeah, there's so much more to us. We are like Fab said, we are freaking royalty. Like the number of like Black inventors and the amazing things that Black people have done that isn't really getting elevated. I think that's why I really loved that movie that it come out.
The Kevin Hart one?
No, the one with
No, there's a Kevin Hart like documentary about, he talks about all of the Black inventors.
no, I was talking about the
really
one
good.
with Taraji, Hidden Figures.
Oh yeah, I never saw that.
Yeah, especially with Black women. Okay, so if no one has seen that in this room,
Movie night.
I
we
think that'd be
definitely
dope.
have
You
to
didn't
like
see it?
watch
I never
that.
saw it.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have
Okay,
to watch
so-
that.
Yeah.
But it's a good piece of like history that was forgotten or not included.
Yeah.
And so it kind of talks through a story of a woman that really impacted like made a major impact in science and stuff like that. So
Exactly,
it
and
was
math, like
We should-
brilliant.
We should also watch the Kevin Hart film about, because it's good. I showed it to my kiddos in English, and they enjoyed it. It's just, he talks about like all the Black people that invented things that you don't hear about because it's not in history books, and they don't kind of brush it under the rug. There's like Black men that have created things and white people have gotten credit for. We don't even know.
Exactly.
It's really cool.
So-
And I also just want to highlight the importance of intersectionality within Black. Like another thing that really frustrates me when it comes to like elevating history and like talking about history is that there's no space to talk about like Afro-Caribbeans and like people who have darker tones that might be from like Latina culture. Like there's like Black intersects across so many different areas as well. And so if you're inside of school, you should not only be teaching about like African American history, you should be talking about like the Haitian Revolution as well. Like those moments or points of intersectionality is really important for all darker toned people.
And that is American.
Yes.
That
Including
is
all of that is American.
That is.
Yeah. One of the parts inside of the poem that kind of stuck out to me that I was like, I feel like we're kind of in that space right now. Let me see if I could pull it up really quickly.
The shame part.
Yeah, exactly. It says,
saw that.
besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed.
Ashamed, yes.
You know what I mean? I feel like
Yes,
that
yes.
holds so much weight. It's so crazy how small this poem is.
So small.
It's so
tiny.
small and we
It's
so
like
small.
so powerful in that one part where it's like, we're here now. We're
can't
at
deny
the
us.
table. You can't deny us. Like
and you're
we're-
gonna be ashamed.
You're gonna be like, and it's not even like we're casting this upon you, but it's just like, and all that has happened in the history of time here in America, at least,
Yes.
and what you guys have done, the oppression, like you're gonna have to live with this curse that you pretty much placed on yourself. We didn't do that because he went off and was like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna laugh at it today, but tomorrow I'm gonna be there in that space, and you're gonna feel this sense of like, damn, why would I or why did I do this? And it's only people that become woke that start to feel this sense, or people that are maybe they are ashamed and don't really want to have to face that demon. But at the end of the day, there is this curse that has been placed upon themselves, that they have placed upon themselves by denying us access to that space because company is around. You know what I mean?
Yo, and I think the shame is also like, dang, you are so magical.
Like, how could I do
how
this?
could I like keep such magic away.
But they couldn't though. Like
They could, like, you can't. It's
You
like,
can only
I'm
suppress
just
people for so long.
ashamed that I did all of this and they still magic.
They couldn't because, like I was talking about, man, they tried to block his magic by having him eat in the kitchen, but homie was still shining.
Yeah.
He was still shining. He made
he ate
something
well.
out of what he had.
Yeah.
He ate
and was
well.
smiling. It felt like he was getting stronger.
Yes.
Well, we're definitely in this space of people, or starting to realize how darker skin is beautiful, because I feel like it's just a testament to people trying to get black features, right? We're in this time where like people are trying to get fuller lips and darker skin
Because it's magical, man.
and right.
But that shit's fake.
Back in the day, that was considered like really unattractive, and now like a lot of people are trying to like look ethnic, look you know. So yeah, no, I agree. It's like people are jealous. They want to be black, but not be black.
I honestly think that's like the shame, because I don't want people who are not melanated to our capacity, because everyone to some degree has some form of melanin, whether you're pink, peach, whatever it might be. But I honestly think that's the shame that they're living with. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like we have been shining throughout. You ever like, when you're younger or something, or you're in your immature phase or something, there's like this sense of jealousy, but then at the same time you want to reflect what it is that they're doing. Some people, no one knows what I'm talking about.
Nah, baby, I'm looking.
No, like you, I guess, so what you mean is like you look at a person and you're like jealous of them, but you're trying to emulate what they're doing because you secretly admire what it is they're doing.
That's the shame that I'm talking. That's the shame that I'm talking about. Thank you very much. Steph understands my language. But yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, and I think that's basically what's being represented right now. And until the moment comes where everyone can just appreciate the mosaic and understand how each person brings something beautiful to the table, until we reach that point, I don't think we'll ever truly be American or embody what we really want to embody as American. Do you get what I mean? Because otherwise, I think we're just going to reach this point where it's like we're just in a cycle. We're in this cycle of hatred, an eye for an eye type of thing. And
competitive.
So it's important to highlight these things so that people can recognize the beauty that you guys have suppressed for so long. And now you have to live with this shame and this curse. But eventually, one day, hopefully, you'll understand that what you bring to the table is okay. And what we have at the table, it's not like there's no space. There's space. There's space for it all.
There's space for everybody,
because I too, and I think TOO is so important, but I too, what you bring to the table and what I bring to the table too
is America.
Thank you.
And just like you said, Ro, he pointed out, I'm a darker brother. But that's not to say that we ain't brothers nonetheless. I'm just the darker one. That's what I bring to the table. And, you bring a different complexion. That's just what it is. It's just, and it's a powerful word, but at the same time, there's like this tone of like matter of fact. Like I'm just the darker brother. That's all that is. You're a different complexion, but not to say that either one of us are any less. And one day you're going to recognize that. And unfortunately, because for so long you suppressed me, you're going to feel this sense of shame that you have to deal with, And
I've been laughing and being resilient and rising the whole time. I still love you though.
And then when that radiates, just outside of, color, race and stuff, when that radiates in people, it's kind of like, damn, you want to kind of gravitate toward them like, dang, you are like feeling like you're just so dope. Like you're so happy. And I want to like be a part of that joy. I want to have what you have. Like,
that's all it is, man. People just want that joy.
What did you think about the guy on the show that said, I don't see color? And the boy was like, I hear that, that phrase is said a lot. Like, people are like, oh, I don't see color, and the boy was like, "Oh, then you don't see me, Dad." I kind of think that phrase is beat.
No, I agree with you, and I think that's why Randall said, "Well, Dad, then you don't see me." Randall was talking to his white dad, Jack, and Jack, arguably, if that's even the word, like he's like the American dad that like all of America loves right now. Like Jack Pearson's role in that show, everybody loves him, but like Jack saying that I don't see color, man, and Randall was like, "Damn, then you really ain't
It's almost
vibing
like
with the kid."
he was saying, I don't see history. Like I don't see the history that, or I don't see like the.
But I think Jack was just trying to come from a good place. Like, you know what? I know you're my black son, but like I just see my son. But it's like, nah, you can't. I actually hate when people say I don't see color. I think that shit's for the birds. I think it's a Trey beat, as you
Yeah.
say, TJ.
And I think when you just said that, Ro, it just makes me think about how important it is for us to put a remix on this phrase, assume best intentions. Like, there's too much information out there and there's too much conversation going on for you to just continue
to speak like that, man.
speaking in ignorance like that. And so even if you might be coming from a good place.
Yeah, that's why everybody excused it.
Yeah,
Like, it was
you-
okay. Jack said it.
Yeah, like even though you might be coming from a good place, like we're no longer assuming best intentions. Like you need to own your impact.
Yeah,
Yeah.
real. Straight like
I think
that.
it's bad to not see color. I think I get why that could be a phrase that's like, okay, no,
don't.
you don't see color.
I do see it, though.
I can
would
understand
understand
from their
if- yeah.
perspective as to why they feel the need to say that. But
What if a black person said it though?
Bullshit.
you're living that experience. So
I am color.
You're literally living the experience of color. So if you're not seeing it, then you're not even recognizing your own life and your day to day, because you have like people. Or maybe you're not living with this sense of double consciousness. Is that a bad thing?
I also
what the
just
hell it
don't
is.
want to live in a world where I don't see any color, because I mean, it would make sense if we started from the beginning without all of the structures and implications that have been in place around like race and
But we didn't.
experience. But we did, and it's here. But now that we're here, I'm like, yes, some really ugly things have come out of, this conversation around color, but
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad I'm black. You know, I like the fact that I have this piece of history that's connected to me, and that I have something that makes me unique and different from somebody else. And I think color encompasses that.
Well, how is that different from someone saying I don't see sexual, like I don't see sexual identity, like I don't.
I've actually never heard that.
I
people
haven't
are-
heard that.
I know, but it's like if someone were to say that, it's the same concept.
No, it's not.
How is it not the same concept?
Because you're not like walking around literally with it ingrained inside of your skin. Like
Nobody can look at you and know what your sexual orientation is.
Unless
But
if
the
you're
minute
like,
you look at
walk,
me-
sometimes yes,
Well,
but you could always like not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you
not,
can't
not see this.
you can't you even if you bleach your skin, you're still gonna see
You won't be
this
peach.
gray hue.
You
but
would
there's
never
people that perpetrate and can pass as, that girl that was saying that she was black and she's not. I mean, it's not always like, there's people that are in between that you're like, oh, they could go either way. Kind of the same as sexuality.
I remember reading something on this thing called Passing, where it's like a woman that is of color, but she's also like both black and white. And that's basically what you're describing right now.
She's still black.
But she's still black. She's able to use her privilege, which she actually recognizes the fact that she's privileged. So she is able to pass. This was one of the books actually, or pieces of literature that the teacher had brought up. But she's still black at the end of the day,
Still Nick.
and she still lives with
Jay-Z
that.
lyrics.
Yes, exactly.
I just think of people that say, I don't see color. And we we're kind of getting on them about that, saying, oh, that, I said it was beat. But then I'm thinking, God, if someone said like, I don't see sexual identity, like people are just people, I don't see straight and gay, we would be like.
I think a similar conversation would come up, because some people might take pride in the fact about their sexuality. They don't want to not
We wouldn't
see
call
that.
it beat though. We wouldn't.
I would.
I would still say
You
it's
I think
beat.
any phrase that is pretty much dismissing a piece of somebody's identity is beat.
But we are in this age where people are saying, oh, there's no. There's a lot
I hear
of
where you're
people
coming from,
like,
TJ. I really do hear where you're coming from. I hear where you're coming from, but I'm going to go back to the point where it's like you're not walking every single day with this label on you.
When it
where
comes to your
people
sexuality?
yes,
Okay.
you're not walking every single day with this label on you. Some people, yes, and some people are not. But when you're of color and you have to like walk around with this label that society has placed on you, you're going to feel that. And when somebody says that they don't see color, then that means that you don't see that I exist. You don't see that my history was what it was. You don't even see the beauty that I bring to the table. It's not even just about the negative. What about the positive? Like, I am also very beautiful, and so are you. That's the I too part that I'm just like, you can't neglect that part, because there's just so much of what has happened that has brought me to be who I am today. And so if you're not seeing my color, which is so heavily ingrained in who I am and my ancestry, then do you even, like, you don't see me. Do you care about who I am? You know, do you care about my identity? But this is something that you literally have to walk around all of the time. That's why the term the phrase double consciousness came up, because you literally have to walk around with this all of the time. Like, people, I don't know if it's just like black women, but I don't know if you as a black man have to or feel this or experience this, but if you're like at the workplace, you have to like not be this, for us, this portray this angry black woman.
You gotta perform, sis.
And you have to like make sure you like, wait, let me not say it this particular way.
I don't make you uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Let me come off warm.
You know,
Fabiola, I 100% agree. But I do think the two issues are comparable, and I don't know. I think that we would have a different conversation if it was someone saying like, "Oh, I don't see
sexuality."
Yeah, like, or I don't see sexual identity. We would probably celebrate that because they're not seeing it. It's just like, oh, they're accepting. So it's kind of like it's a similar thing to saying, oh, I don't see color, but because of the history
of color,
it's like seen as like, what, like you're gonna ignore that I'm black, or that, like, how can you say you don't see color? But if someone said, oh, I don't see, you could.
But that doesn't. I see what you're saying, TJ, and the way that you're explaining the sexuality piece, it sounds like the way you're saying it for the sexuality example is like, I don't see sexuality, therefore it doesn't mean I'm oppressed anymore, and that is not. I don't think that's true. People can say I don't see sex. I feel like when people use that phrase, they say it to like portray that they are not like homophobic or like racist or prejudiced or something like that.
It's the same reason why people say I don't see color, to make it seem like I'm not racist.
Exactly.
Okay.
But so people say that phrase, but it doesn't mean that the internal work has been done on their implicit biases on the way they treat people who are different than them.
That's true.
So even though, the example that you're giving, you're immediately like framing it and inside the positive, like, oh yeah, well then everything will be good. But I think the still underlying problem would be there. It's like people are saying this to try to ignore the oppression and differences that people in this category have experieted and
are still experiencing.
And is still experiencing, but you haven't done any of the internal work to like accept them and make them feel a part or pretty much just operate with them as normal people. I don't need you to not see my color and not see my sexuality, because I'm proud about both of them. I just need you to respect me and treat me like a person,
like a human,
and let me move through life the way I want to move through life without you impeding on my happiness and my joy. So I just think any comment like that that's like devaluing somebody else's identity or dismissing a part of them that's important to them is big.
Trade.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I like that point that you brought up though, TJ.
Yeah, that was a good.
This was a good conversation,
y'all.
y'all.
Conversation.
Always.
Thank you for bringing that.
Thanks,
to this table. It was great.
As always, I'm so thankful that y'all brought y'all's minds to the conversation, man.
Absolutely, you stimulated it.
Yeah. So I have the word of the day.
Ooh.
And I guess, I don't know, this actually might fit into our discussion today, but I like save all these really important quotes and things that I might see on like Facebook or Instagram. And I think I look at this one often because I need to always just like pull myself back in and be like, woo child, you know where you've been and you know where you're going.
Yes,
and it says, don't let anybody take you back to a level that you've already leveled up from.
Amen, amen, amen.
Okay?
Amen, amen, amen.
Don't let anybody take you back to a level you've already leveled up from. And I chose this because I think we are constantly like tested multiple times within our growth and tempted to go back to some of our old ways and respond in ways that we know are not of us anymore.
Yep.
And so I hope that this word of the day touches somebody out there and just reminds you, like, keep growing and keep striving to push forward and what you already know and what you've learned. But I'm interested, to hear what you guys have to say.
A couple of vexes come to mind when I hear that.
When you hear level up?
Yup. People have leveled up from.
Level up.
Pulling me to them. Like, just trying to pull me to them and bring me down.
But you leveled up, TJ.
Yeah.
You leveled up.
It's tempting, though.
But you leveled
Familiarity
up.
is tempting.
But you leveled up.
I did.
Yo, TJ, you brought up a good point, though. Doesn't it always feel like when you do level up, like, all of the stuff that used to be a part of the past just tries to like come back.
Suck you back in.
Suck you back in.
So they can sense you growing.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It's like the universe is just testing you. Like, you act like you done grown. Let's see.
Yeah, you have to have the test of growth.
And then boom.
I fall back.
You're like, damn.
A lot of times, guys.
So yeah, I mean, it happens. But then, are you able to level up?
Of course, we level back up.
Yeah,
Sis.
I feel like Langston Hughes definitely touched up on that inside of this this poem as well. You know what I mean? It's like, gotta level up. Gotta level up. Gotta look past and keep it pushing.
Oh yeah, the level up is sort of that optimistic tone.
Yeah,
that futuristic tone
I see
that
what
you
you
mentioned.
did.
You know what I mean?
A little
this
something
is
there,
good
shit here. This is good.
Yeah, man. I love this episode. I love the book club, yo. It gives us some time to get our minds nice and stimulated.
Yeah.
Say our piece, and we definitely want everybody else to say their piece about whatever. Please jump in, join the conversation. Let us know what you are thinking about this poem, I Too, by Langston Hughes.
Yes.
It was the Beanstalk, everybody. We love y'all.
As
Love you
always,
guys.
Ciao.
Bye.
Stay dope, stay fuego.
Oh, yeah. And can't forget this. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
Word.
Enjoy.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Eat right. Enjoy family.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, family.
What is that?
It's a turkey
Oh,
sound.
yeah, because they don't go gobble, gobble, gobble.
There you go.
Anyways, guys,
That's what they do.
happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, y'all.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, kids.
Hey!